Hello, beautiful souls. So, video number 3 in the series. If and when we have these times of falling apart, and we are, because the body, mind, the soul, the spirit, our whole matter, this earth, is trying to school us right now because a reset is happening. And so, feral, instinctual, gut, whatever you want to call it, because we're all that, is trying to tell you how to set up a new world order because it's in our nature. And it's in our survival mechanism, and we will survive. We will survive and make another golden age. The problem is I'm talking about who wants to be part of that and who doesn't, because I am, and I know that I am, and I know either way I have the capability to set that up, because I've had to learn it through intense suffering to be something more than I was, just the ignorant in Plato's cave. And I don't want to be the prison keeper in Plato's cave, so I'm going to have to rise above that through this own God chakra, for the highest good of all. And so in my life, I've got to see how damaging people that rule with these left, right, left mentalities of New Age and Illuminati and Masons and mystery schools, like the Rosicrucians setting up their own little Jesus and their own world orders. That's what all these cults do. So I'm talking about what is the next age, highest, greatest good of all, when everyone should have all their chakra online and their third eye open and their God chakra lit. How is that going to look? Are we going to perpetrate the same prison system, or are we going to have the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to break out of that? I don't know, because right now, New Age culture has set up the next. We got Arcturians, we got Pleiadians, and these netters of Egypt, and these ancient kings, and these aliens, and these literally 4D creatures, created homunculi that are mixed with humans and animals and dead past tense of kings, aka demons, or 4D creatures, and they want that to rule the next age. This is always like the plight. This is always what we do. Or the earth is totally wiped out, and somebody like the Jains, or someone that was able to live off earth, which the Illuminati is saying, if you pay attention now, in all the music, in the music industry, they are putting all that out there and saying this earth is going to get totaled, and we're all going to move to Mars, and only those who go to Mars are going to rule and create the next age here. And they show in some of their videos, like alien videos. I can only say that much because I don't want to. Well, maybe I will. Maybe I will link the video. It's like Katy Perry video. They reduped it, and they show the Earth being completely totaled and her coming back as a goddess creator, fourth dimensional mixed creature, coming back and reviving men in order to procreate here on Earth. So this is the elite storyline. The elites want to wipe out the Earth, the elites, the ruling godheads of now, which are devolved and disgusting as far as I'm concerned, and stupid as far as I'm concerned, because they're propagating the old Plato cave system. That's all they can think of, all they want, and all they can do is just me, my, I'm a glutton. This is as far as the godhead ruling chakra can go, because Plato's cave, blah, 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 blah. My hope is they all get wiped out. And the only thing that's left is what brings us off this planet if we need it. But it doesn't need to be that way. They're saying it's the end of the Kali age and this earth is going to be wrapped up in fire and taken out. Well, in that case, so are all the planets within the dimension attached to it. So, that could be a possibility, why we're all evolving so much, and why we're going to turn into spirit and leave and go to the frequency dimensions we need to when we pass. It's no big deal. It's getting there that's the big deal. And I don't want the next Saturnal age to be like what I see people try to propagate it in, with their third eye open, their Illuminati following BS, and you're going to follow us, or we're going to kill you, Sheila, or we're going to force you to be what we want you to be, a polygamist, to this, to that. No, you're not going to. So Spirit has shown me And we have discussed and talked, and I'm sharing my dreams about it, of how I don't want to be of the past tense of who I created in this monadic reality. And some say monads don't exist because you can't split an atom. Yes, you can, and you know what it causes. When you split, and we can bring it down even to the twin flame principle, which is very feral here now and very not completely spiritual. It's kind of like flowing with the energy that's going on now, and that's why there's so many twin flames that have this kind of narcissistic paradigm to it. So when you split twin flames on this earth, or souls, or monadics, and they're all splitting like the atomic bomb and then coming back together, it causes utter chaos. And so people are trying to band together as twin flames to be nucleus, to save the home, to save the next age, to come into a Saturnal peaceful age. And biologically, they can talk spiritual mumbo jumbo all they want about twin flames, but biologically, in the natural order that exists in this world, if we don't band together as that, neither can and will the earth, and neither can and will the ecosystem surrounding the earth as planets, because we are that. We hold this together. And there are people who are conscious of that and people who are not conscious of that. And there are people who are conscious of that on a New Age level. And there are people who are conscious of it on a satanic level, on an alchemical, as an alchemist level, and people who go beyond that. So I'm not putting myself above anyone here, because real leaders don't do that. They simply tell you how to be whole in your heart and be whole in your God chakra and carry on for the greatest good of all. Not saying, oh, what my wants, needs, and desires, and what I want in my self-preservation is the highest good of all. No, it isn't. Because you don't even need to be in your body, as we say about ancestors, to bring about the highest good of all. If so, why do why do you have anything with past dead kings and alchemists or ancestors if that's not the case? The ruling spirits of the next age will not even be visible. It's why this war in the ethers comes about between us and them, and we make this us and them paradigm, above, below, within, without. Even within our own consciousness, if they're not ruled by our Godhead or chakra. So we set up rules first to have order in chaos. After that, we set up rules to keep the utter chaos, peace, and then to bring about health and how we're going to form a cohesive community. And shamans base this on connection with the heart and the highest good of all. And shamans, as I say, are going to be the healers. They're going to be the ones who are in connect with the Godhead and can tell people the best ways to heal themselves, the plants to use, the energy on where to build camp, where to set up ley lines on the new formations of the earth or whatever happens with the earth. This is what they do. And we have these demigod demoted ideas of what ruling gods and Godhead and the El are and the elementals are, because that's what we become if we're going to serve. We become the elementals. We become the Elohim. But there's a head of the Elohim. And they are also a group. Elementals are grouped all within the frequency of the Godhead here in this realm. So if you're in your highest potential, you're in the highest potential of this Godhead here, this dragon head here, this ruled earth here, ruled by the gods that ruled it, or you create your own universe and your own monadic group and your own alchemical group, and you carry ever on. And I've explained in other videos how this is happening and how I don't see any of them as my monadic group now. And I don't trust any of them. And I am not wiping my consciousness so they step in, which I kind of sort of did. But I did it in my way of stopping all the pendulums and external thought forms. And this is how I opened my heart space and found my soul, and then continued to work on and clear these chakra. even while the whole time having people abuse me and put curses on me. And I've shared recently about the curse, the demon, the 4D creature, the death, having the foot on the back of the neck, which was recently done to me, and I removed that, which it put a stressor on my immune system, and all the neuropathy symptoms and all that came back, and I had just gotten over fighting all the strep from that. So you have to know and have an unmovable faith to lead a body, never mind to lead people on this earth. In this chaos, you have to have unwavering faith within yourself, and I am growing into that, and that's the best that I can tell you I can do. This is what makes you a leader. You look at the BS everybody else has already propagated for all these world orders in the past, and you're like, nah, I don't want to be a part of this Godhead that rules on this earth, which is a frequency domain, or I'm going to make my own. And people can do that. They can hive mind to their eternal alchemist group they want to be part of. For right now, I'm observing those, and I don't want to be part of that. So all I can do is observe and work with what I'm working with on this earth now, the ancestors, the burial mounds, tuning into what do they not want. In my dreams, as I dreamed this week a couple times, seeing this person from the external, how they want to treat women and how they want women to be submissive to them as an authority so that they can use them for energy. And it's not their desire to create a woman who can bring them higher. It's their desire to create a woman who is submissive and controlled, and like an animatron does whatever they say. That doesn't happen. That's how we create the Yahweh and the Asherah again. The separation, the divorce between the male and the female here, which divorces the archetypes in the human mind. Period. We are under a divorce system and a warring system and a planetary system that has the polarity of male and female, working in a separate. Well, in a Saturnal age, that should be balanced out. And it should be for the highest good of all, which is what this chakra is about. And like I say, scenarios I've created in my external world, I do not want to be like either person, good or bad, left or right. In this Plato's Cave Illuminati system, I don't like anything that I'm seeing from either side, because it's all about sexuality and propagating the next seed, and it's all being done to me in a lower aspect way that it could be done in a higher. Oh, but Sheila, you don't get to tell us what our sex and our sexuality is. You don't get to tell us, and you don't. Yeah, okay. I am all for the kids teaching the parents, but I'm not for the children ruling the parents. Parents learn, everybody learns from each other. The kids should have as much flexibility to set up their own microcosm within the macrocosm, but they should not be allowed to do evil, cruel, or hurt each other, or come up with devious ideas. In that case, they need to be controlled. And children brought up in a right environment are amazing, and they will get together and they will create beyond what adults can fathom and create. It's been proven with experiments. Also, the only one talked about is the island experiment, where a bunch of kids were just dumped on an island, and the whole animals, the animal farm system, was recreated. And that's all people here want you to believe can be recreated, but that is not true. And if it's true, then you're in the Plato's system cell. You're going to propagate the prison system in the mentality of the next age, and it's not going to be a golden age. And I'm sorry, but as far as I'm concerned, it is, or I'm not going to be part of this system anymore. I don't like what I'm seeing, And these things are coming before me so that I can see better things. I'm not going to tell you who to sleep with, who to make love to, how whatever. But I am going to tell you, in a devolved age, what is the best way to conserve your energy and not put it all out there and create a ton of children, create a ton of STDs and viruses, which is basically what all the 4D death system is based off of, is imbalances. So if your chakra aren't all balanced and you're not all online and you're not the seed of life, you're not going to tell me how to balance myself, because it's an impossibility. Or I will become your disease. Okay? So I am not saying you can't love who you want to love, because people will flip out in this day and age because they cannot see a higher good other than their own. Until calamity, until divorce, until this ripping apart of the world happens and we have to restart. And those of us who really want to restart, which are channelers, and they're channeling Pleiadians and Star and whatever, and some of them don't even believe in that. They're using that as a new age system to make a new religion, because I've met them, in order to make a new religion and rulership here, channeling for different elementals and different monads and different alchemists, monads, who want to create their own world here with this God system. Like if you think of Mars, if it were like a planet like this and you could re-terraform it, and some grand alchemist goes there and he rules there, and he creates a whole new world and a whole new system, okay? That can be done, I get that. Well, on a smaller scale, this is what happens here, and this is what happens with the ruling class here, or the disembodied, disincarnate old world kings, or if we don't want their past tense BS because it didn't work for us, and that age is fallen and will not work in the same age, in a devolved system and age, then we need people who know the earth is coming to a place where it's devolving and can all band together and make it as cohesive and constructive and clean and pure as we can, so everybody's chakra system can be online and we can all get along. Not that we can all rule each other and have this Plato's cave scenario prison system again. There's always dark alchemists who want to do this. And you know what? It's because they're imbalanced. Or there's always light alchemists who are like, oh, and you can't say bad, and you can't. And that's always what gives the dark the power, by the way, is when the light gets too all up in their light white BS. So love, light, and darkness, the balance is the balance, And we're learning that. People are learning that now. So my job as being a seer is to see what I do not like in these systems and what I do not want to propagate into the next age, because I remember coming here when there was nothing, and I remember back to being nothing and communicating with these dead kings that say that they were always around in the elemental system. The elements, the system of the elements have rulers. They have order, they have ordinance, they have an upper chakra system themselves. We all have a divine order. And the micro is actually ruling the macro here, because the unseen world is actually ruling the seen realm, because that's what creates. The unseen thought form creates the form here. And the L, or the original element or creator in this world, are the elements put here, the angels, the angelic thought forms, to rule here. And when they fell out of order and into chaos, what did they care about? They only cared about propagating their seed and making a slave class. Whether you want to think of the Anunnaki or you believe the elementals were some great disembodied, disincarnated gods that lived 60,000 years or whatever, they lived that long in relation to our planet, or they lived that long in relation to the fact that they're elements. And even the elements break down over time. Don't we know that? So it's hard for me to describe the depth of creation when I just really want to explain how you set up a world order from the crown or God chakra up, and what is the best way to do that, and how everyone is fighting here to have the power to do that, or they're actually fighting here to build their own monadic groups eternal alchemists are returning with the kings of this earth in order to bring life and humans and minds and consciousness, which is also one of the elements, into their own realm. Now I'm saying this from the Chinese and the couple different systems that believe one of the elementals is consciousness, or it's an element that orders and controls consciousness. You have earth, air, fire, water, the ethers, which some people believe all the elementals are in that mind consciousness of God, plasma. So, and also you can add in metal. So you can have earth, air, fire, water, ether, metal, consciousness, which would be 7. Which makes sense to me because we have 7 base chakra. We should have 7 elementals. We have the 7 planets. But also we've got to realize we're evolving into the upper chakra. So maybe there's more things than we actually know. But we can only work with where we are and what we know and recognize the elementals and elements that we can see and the offspring of those elements, which bring you back to the netters, which I put up a man's he talks about the netters. I have his channel posted, which I can't think of it now. I'll try to link it since I forgot to. I want to say his name is Brian, but I'm not sure. So he talks about the netters as governing elementals, not as physical kings and queens, but as a system set up so that people who don't know, who haven't evolved to this point to understand these things, can relate to how the elementals of the world works, and then those are always hijacked and turned into a God-worshipping system. It's just the story of this earth, and we just keep regurgitating the energies that are already here while devolving, while the system devolves until it is wrapped up and this star system is no more. Which happens. Everything evolves and devolves in systems and cycles. So we need rulership for the next age, and we need to understand how precious the lower aspect, the children, the supposedly uneducated peoples are. And if we would just let them be, they would grow into the great leaders of the next nation instead of the elements that destroy and bring down and cut off. You don't ever want somebody in a nation to be so complacent that they never defend against viruses, because this is where stuff starts. Energy is lowered and there's viruses and STDs. And this is why, in a future age, we cannot just willy-nilly procreate with everybody and everything here, or we will wipe ourselves out. We need to all be spiritual enough that the reason why we come together, congregate, love each other, procreate, is in order to create godly or goodly seed and children, not a devolved seed. That's just like, oh, like what your man did to you before was the evil end of the Illuminati, and I'm not that. This is the way it needs to be done. It needs to be all about one love, while I'm literally watching their system of one love devolve into something I don't want. They're deceiving people for what they want, saying, this is what Spirit told me to do. This is what the highest good of all is. Well, anyone can claim they know what the highest good of all is. If you're doing the highest good of all, you don't have to lie to the people below you that you're doing it to. You don't have to sexually initiate them. You don't have to do anything like that, demoted and lower. You have to be forthright and open. Tell you, okay, when I initiate you, this is what's going to happen to you. Not, oh, if I initiate you and you survive, you're worthy, your spirit's worthy. Yeah, that's the old system, even shamans, whatever. There are systems older. Would you do that to your babies? The elite would. The nutcases that are ruling the earth right now would. They would procreate with their old children like cats and dogs. They don't care. But that will not, we've seen with even the Egyptian gods and kings, how they deformed and devolved because they would only mate within families to keep a ruling class, not to keep the greatest good of all, to keep the Plato's cave and the eternal war of between humans and and ruling class going. And that's always what this earth is about. In a Saturnal age, we have a chance for it not to be like that. But in order to have order, the highest monadic group of these eternal alchemists are going to be the ones who decide. And there's going to be those who are part of those systems and hive mind to those systems, whether they're tricked to because they take the ego completely out of the way till they have no identity and therefore a spirit steps in. It's not the highest self. When you do it correctly and you implode the chakra, and the heart chakra is online, so the implosion field this way and this way, the pole this way and this way, then the crown, the highest good that you were created to be as a soul, your eternal monad soul, your eternal soul, that comes down in, and that says what is the highest good of all. That is you holding the highest good for all. That is you holding the highest vibration in your camp. And if that cannot be done rationally as well as spiritually, these are not up here evolved. They're just following the Illuminati teachings and the, oh, I have mine to Isis. I made a promise to that God, this God, this God. Well, you're saying the netter and the elemental, which are devolved here. And now, do you want to continue to evolve the elemental, or do you want to build them up? And to me, the only ones that are going to bring about a real, true new age that's any good for anyone is it's not going to be ruled by base desires. It's going to be ruled by upper chakra and not having the desires that rule everything. And this is why people want to go back to the nothing and start over like I did, because they don't want to be part of these systems anymore. They just want to break. They just see outside of all of it and the continual la-di-da-di-da, and they're tired of it. But as my highest self comes online and I see order within chaos, I'm going to share how to bring about the order in chaos. You cannot have a personal, selfish agenda. You can't. To survive is not a personal, selfish agenda. To keep your energy up is not a purposely selfish agenda if you're not having to lie and initiate people without their knowledge, and then you have to make them suffer to take their energy because that's what keeps your heart space in line, because that's who you are. No, I've been through all these things. Then you don't need to take people's life force and Reiki, raise their vibration, help them open their heart chakra, and then use your energy when they get to a certain point, tank it, call your energy back, and then leave that person in a space where they're dependent on you, which is what my two polar extreme shamanic friends are doing, and I'm able to watch them and learn from them because I know I'm a leader. Maybe I don't want to lead this whole earth, but I do understand what leadership is. And more as I come into this crown chakra, am I balanced, and why the person put the demonic 4D curse on me, diseases on me, because they don't want me reaching my highest potential because it's better than theirs and they're jealous of me, which is so nonsensical for their own survival. So basically, they're wiping themselves out, and magically, all I have to do is say that because it actually is the truth of the unfolding natural order. They're saying there is no left and right. Right. They're saying it's my way or the highway, left or right. So I'm sorry, but they don't have both poles online. They are not imploding correctly because they have to continually, like the Illuminati, take life force, the dark side of that. They don't know how to bring a male, female, king, queen, sun, moon energy into the polarity of the center, which is about the center star. They're not for that. They're for division. When we have all of our ancestors online and we have the left and right poles together, we are open to the eternal ascension. And either we will ascend up that pole, which the trees told me they are doing now, and we will go to a higher heavenly dimension where people like me can create and don't have to stay within these confines of stupid usage and left, right, left isms and Plato's cave and I'm good, you're bad. And either we ascend through ourselves into that and recreate a higher dimension, which all the New Agers are talking about, fifth dimension and higher frequencies without really knowing it, what the whole totality of that is, you're going to have to come in balance through your own pole first to see what that is. Nobody else to tell you. To walk in your newness of life, in your center, bow to your center, know your soul, know your Atman Guru, and then knowing yourself as supreme. And not just, I am goddess. No, I am God and goddess. And therefore I am all of my ancestors, operating outside of physical desires of being either male or female. Because it is not your genitalia in the end of the day that makes you that, but your mind. Because eternal alchemists know this, because many of them become women on a path to either escape their 4D past and to ascend to a fifth dimension, or to become a feminine polarity and then to ascend to what monad they're making as a feminine creator, because they believe God's a woman and a mother and a birther. So it's just the natural order of energy to do that. I'm not saying women are better than men, because when you're in that place of eternal alchemy as a creator, you don't see it that way. You see it as a form of evolution. Now, women on this earth, and science has somewhat proved it, can create from their own bodies. They don't need to revive dead kings or people or humans from the earth. They can literally, if their energy is high enough, propagate like a hermaphrodite within themselves and create. And this is what the hermaphrodite principle is in every religion and every netters. They can create, procreate within themselves life. That's what it is to be a god or a goddess. You read up back on all of them. Original elementals procreated with their self, because there was no physical form of genitalia. So that's what that's about, by the way. Our whole world is so caught up in the polarity of, oh, there, the New World Order, and there has to be no sexism, no racism, no isms, and they're recreating all the isms in their selfishness, trying to make people be part of their clans and make people be part of their delusion, because that's what it is. It's a delusion. If you can't bring someone in consciousness and love them through raising their kundalini and keep them sane and not feed off their life force and or not take it back when you've given them your blessing, that's not a blessing if you've got to take it back after. No, you have to get beyond all this. You're being too human. You're being too scared of death and too scared of not being able to create the next Saturnal age. And you have to give up your willingness to enter into that promised land before you will open to the probability and the possibility and the eternal possibility of what can be created. And my lower aspects of myself here on earth taught me that through their words, through their new age words and their Illuminati left, right, left BS. But at the same time, I was able to take all those energies and transmute them into something higher for my own aspect, for my own God chakra, for the highest good of all. And until I meet a monad that has a higher good than me, I will not submit to it. And most likely, I will group up with those people and see how long, as I have over and over again, how long these monadic groups last until I no longer want to be a part of that and ascend further than them. And this is what ascension is, and this is what evolution is, and this is what carrying ever on is and into the upper dimensions are. So, these ascended masters are returning now within human beings, say, you're part of my monadic group, my mind, my consciousness. It's why I have RJ Spina on there and love his stuff. He's in my about info. Why I have this up, because you all need to understand your potential, your human potential. And in order to do that, you have to clean the slate, clean the mind, clean the Plato's cave, clean out the left, right, left mentality, and stop hurting people and keeping them in ignorance. Do you want to whip your children into ignorance? Do you want them to be ignoramuses? Well, then you want them to be slaves. And you're for Plato's cave, and I want nothing to do with you. You're not gods, you're not goddesses, you're not ascended masters. No. And the frequency of twin souls and twin flames is important here in the aspect that they are channeling They are channeling without the higher knowledge and wisdom. They are channeling something beautiful that needs to be cohesive and come together here in order to make the left, right, left one cohesive polarity. And if you're my partner and you screw with me and try to hurt me, you're going to learn real quick what that is, and that you don't have it, and that you are for the left or the right, your own selfish lower aspect, fourth dimensional dead kings, or you're for the evolution of this earth. And you're going to be wiped out if you're not for the evolution of this earth. Either if you're not harming me, you're going to fade out of my life, or you're going to be brought into submission. Because not only is my energy higher, even though people have continually tanked me and hurt me, but my knowledge and wisdom and evolution is higher. And I don't mean that out of a place of boasting. Because, why? Because my Godhead has come online. And the energy that rules over this monadic being is online. So it's not Sheila from the past, or who I was and who initiated me and left, right, left, and isms and anities and new age and blah blah. No, I set out to be an eternal alchemist. I am on that path. I am that. The authority that rules over me is that, or I wouldn't have come to see that as a possible existence in this reality. End of story. So I will continue to learn from my Godhead what it is to bring about a loving new age. Not forcing people who are younger than you, or more ignorant than you, or unlearned than you, to be your malleable clay that you create with. Because if you create with an unconscious aspect, you're going to have a world of unconscious people. So wait patiently until your twin flame or your people come online, because that's the only thing that's going to bring in a balanced Saturnal new age. Or someone's going to have to rule over you and end your monadic existence, because all you want to do here is rule as a demoted king. Rule like the Hollywood kings and queens want to. Wipe out this planet like the ruling class wants to do, and go into their bunkers and come out and put their sperm into the next age, which will be, of course, contaminated with all the kings of the past. Because it's all the demons of the past. And it's all the archetypes of the past. And the blah, blah, blah storylines of the past. So no, I don't want that to be. And if it's going to be, I'm not going to be part of this on Earth, monad. I have a higher calling. I know it. I've seen it. I walk in it. And nobody's been able to destroy me from that place and time. And if they do, I don't belong here. I'm not worried about that. But I'm certainly not going to let people walk all over me anymore. I am going to not only share these videos, I'm going to start writing this stuff down, and hopefully as Spirit leads, I will meet with other eternal alchemists who aren't for destroying the world and hurting people, and we can get our heads together and write books. Not write books who tell you how to think, feel, and act, but tell you how to be gods and how to be eternal alchemists, and that if we're all going to be that, we're going to let the imaginations of loved children create in the highest aspects possible. And we're going to create those new seeds and children in the most cohesive, beautiful, vibratory, seed of life pattern that we possibly can in this Yuga fallen age. And it can be done with technology, high technology, and love, and consciousness. And that's what the next new age is going to be. Not these, and I love the brilliant people that are trying to, create the next age through technology and robotics and all of that. I love their brilliance, but I do not love their fallen nature. I do not love their lower aspects that are driving them into this time, because I've watched them rip women apart. Oh, I'm the alpha male. Well, then you're not balanced. You're not balanced aspect in yourself. So therefore, you're a division, left, right, left. You think of Elon Musk and these different people that are leading and want to lead ages, and they're doing the best of their ability. But what do you see from these Hollywood and brilliant people aspects? You see them dominating women because they're insecure within their own selves. So they have not imploded and reached their highest, And if they are in that state, it's because they're taking the life force of other people by dominating, by murdering, by raping, by keeping that person in a trauma bond so they can feed off of them. And that's what the dead do. So literally, they're dead. So you're saying there is no L. There is only past dead ruling elementals that have ruled this world from as long as we can remember Marduk to Christ. And you want to perpetuate that polarity shift again? Well, then I'm sorry. You're not brilliant. You're not brilliant. I had to realize that I was brilliant enough to destroy this earth and this whole monad. I had to know that I could be that, and that I wouldn't and couldn't do it, in order to see myself as a higher possible aspect of what this whole earth could be. And if it doesn't want to be it, I don't want to be part of it. That is being more than a goddess or a god. It is being an El, an Elohim. It is being one with the elementals and being able to control them. See them in yourself, through yourself, as yourself. Scry within yourself. Not just use the mirror and the water bowl and the cards and the salt and the sticks, which there's nothing wrong with. Or the moon or the planets, which there's nothing wrong with, until you make them negative aspects of your own internal self, because you're weak. And that's what demigods are. They're not gods. They're demigods. They're called demigods for a reason, because they ain't the ruling class. Something's ruling over them. And when they've had enough of the BS, what do? They flatten the earth again. And there are literally demigods here who want this to happen. They don't want to bring in the next age. They want to destroy this planet and set up something on another planet, like they're going to deceive the God, the sun, the star, and the creator that rules over that aspect. Like they're going to confuse that plasma. Like that plasma has no mind and consciousness of its own, and it can't reorder this earth. It can, no matter how many times you children fuck up and wipe it out on whatever level that is. This is what being an eternal alchemist is. So, this is why I am not with a twin flame, and this is why I will not hive mind with the people that I've seen, and this is why they will either serve me and what I want, or I will not trust them and have no part of them anymore ever. And that's pretty much what it is right now. I will not be ruled by these people that just think they're demigod, New Age, Illuminati. Sorry, but that's restrictive. And it's demeaning. It's deplorable. And it's lower than me and lower than my aspect. And I'm not saying that to boast, because this aspect has had to crush who I am in my ego 4 to 20 in order to come in and make a new heaven and a new earth within this body. And once that aspect of your higher self does that, you can't be who you were before unless someone tanks you, which is why people keep coming in and tanking me, or lying to me, or trying to get me to do what they want me to do to serve them. And it ain't happening. Thank you for your time.